Hey, badass business owner, what if I told you you are more profitable than you think you are? I want to go over something today that I see on a regular basis, and it's something that's really messing with your minds. I think a lot of you don't realize how bad you have this just because of some bad habits that you have. You just automatically think you're not making any money. And the reality is you are making some money. It's just what you're spending that money on needs to be addressed. So what am I even talking about? Well, let's talk about that, okay? First off, a lot of times when I'm looking at somebody's books, right, and I'm looking at what their transactions are, it's one thing if you look at a profit and loss, but really, you really don't know the true story unless you kind of dig in a little bit and look at the transactions. So when I'm cleaning up somebody's books, right, they send them over to me and they're like, Tammy, help me get this straight. I need to figure out what's going on. First thing I do is I start looking at all the different transactions because in order to make it work, we got to put them in the right categories, right? I see over and over and over items that have nothing whatsoever to do with the business. And it could be running in to get gas. It could be food. It's a lot of food. Let's clear this up right now. A lot of you cannot write off your food. Your food that you buy, whether it's at a grocery store, a restaurant, a fast food place, you need to run it by your CPA because there are certain rules that have to be allowed on taxes in order for you to do that food. And just because you're hungry doesn't work. Just because you're at a job doesn't work. Now, if you're traveling, you're away from your general location, stuff like that, those can be. And even then, it's not even the full amount. But for most of you, you're just grabbing stuff along the way. You're hungry. You're grabbing some lunch. Great, but it is not a business expense. It is you. And here's what's happening. You don't realize how that adds up. Matter of fact, let's do that really quickly. I'm going to grab our phone, right? And we're just going to do this. Let's just say you go grab a $15 lunch 5 days a week because, you're out and about and you're hungry. And by the way, most fast food places, you can't get out for like more than 15, but we're going to go with 15 on average. Times 5 times 4 weeks out of the month. That's $300 that you're spending a month just on getting that food. And that grows to another almost $4,000 through the course of the year of just, I'm grabbing something to eat. Whether, like I said, no matter where it's at. And you think, oh, I wish I was more profitable. Great, you are. You're about $4,000 more profitable than you think you are if you're running out every single week or every single day and you're getting this food and you're just buying stuff. A lot of you put other kinds of weird expenses on there that are all personal. And once again, it's making the bank account go down. And therefore, because you're not really in tune with your numbers and you're not really looking at them, it makes you feel like you are not profitable. And you're like, man, there's no money in the bank account. I just don't have any money. No, you do have money. You just keep spending it. And you keep spending it and you're thinking the business, as opposed to if you took that money and you did it the right way, which is to take it from the business, move it over to your personal account and then spend it, it's going to feel a lot differently. So you're like, oh, my personal expenses are only $3,000. But meanwhile, you've got 2,000 other personal sitting over there in the business account, which really tells me that your personal, you're spending blowing through about 5,000. But because you're not paying attention to it and you're thinking business and it's a business expense, it's actually hurting you. And you've got to stop doing that. You really need to keep what the business is doing for you so you can see what your true profit is on the business, because the profit of the business is what you turn around. And we all know you've got 3 things to do with that profit, right? One is you have to pay taxes. Second, retained earnings, money you're going to keep in the business. And by the way, I'm going to keep adding to this retained earnings / pay debt, because a lot of those retained earnings, that's where you're going out and you're paying the debt. Because if you've got $300, $400, $2,000 a month on debt, that's coming off of those profits that you make. So those are part of those retained earnings. And then you get to take the money out for the owner's draw, unless you are on a payroll because you're an S Corp or something like that. But at the end of the day, you are more profitable. And this time of year, because people are paying taxes, they're just shocked when they find out the number that they have to pay taxes on because they didn't pay attention to all of the business expenses that are personal expenses that had to come out of the business. So once you back out all those personal ones, the business didn't have as many write-offs as you thought it did. Same thing when it comes to gas. People go, oh, my gas. Well, you're either going to be on the mileage deduction or you're going to be on the actual costs deduction. And either way, you're going to be able to count one or the other because it's supposed to offset. I'm not a tax professional, see a tax professional, but it does sometimes will throw people off. They're like, well, I don't understand why my gas didn't count and it did count, or my repairs or whatever. It all depends upon the business in which way is the better route for you to go. Once again, see a tax professional, so they're going to explain that to you. But once again, it all comes down to those personal charges. It's amazing. And I don't want to keep rattling on and on about this because you know what you're doing. Amazon. Oh my gosh. You know what? I love Amazon just as much as the next person. You put it at my door the next day. I'm a happy camper. I don't have to go shopping for it. I love Amazon. But a lot of you have your business card attached to your personal Amazon, and that stuff adds up too. Have you ever looked at how much you've bought on Amazon? And it's everything, right? Because we're getting our dog food, we're getting our human food in some cases. You're buying that thing you just saw and you just had to have it in that moment. Whatever it is, Amazon adds up. And when you look at your Amazon charges and you add it up for the month, you need to make sure that what of that is actually business expenses and how much of it is personal. Some people, they're very good at this. They have it all separated out on their Amazon account. They know which card to use when it's a business expense, and it defaults to the personal one for all of their personal expenses. I know I had to go change mine. I had to go get everything set up so that it all went to the right place. My biggest challenge is remembering to change the default when I'm purchasing for a specific business or a specific thing. Same thing with you. You've got to go make sure you get those under control. I've got people that are going to Walmart, they're going to Target, they're going to Costco, they're going to all these different places that we would consider more personal expenses, including grocery stores. So unless you're going there specifically for business, they have no business being on your business card without a legitimate reason as to why they're on there. And I see this all of the time. I will tell you that if I go to clean up someone's books, right, and there's 1,000 transactions on there, I can easily get that 1,000 down to 800, if not more, by just taking out the personal stuff. I mean, I can literally sort it and say, hey, anytime you use Amazon, personal. Every time you go to personal. Every time you go personal. Every time personal. Oh, and by the way, we all get stuck on certain items, certain fast food places, if you will, certain things. And I'm going to make fun of one of my guys. He knows it, but you know what? He went through a phase. He loves smoothies. He was going to the smoothie place. I know what your favorite fast food place is in some cases because I'll talk to you and it's like Panda Express, Panda Express, Panda Express, Panda Express. Did you have a thing for Panda Express, or is it in your parking lot or by your house or something like that? Once again, it's all of those things add up. And if you're just doing that, once a day and you think, oh, it's only $10 a day, it's only $15 a day, add it up, multiply it out just like we did earlier. And you're going to find that you're talking thousands of dollars of profit you think you don't have and you actually do have in profit, but it's turning out that you're spending it. And for some of you, I love being priced correctly, but some of you think you have a pricing problem and you think you need to continue to raise your prices. Well, you need to slow down because your pricing may not be your problem. Your spending might be your problem. And you're making your customers pay for the fact that you can't control your business expenses from your personal expenses. And that's wrong too, because some people are taking pricing out of control. They are way overpricing, thinking that it has to cover for every single expense. No, you owe it to your business to clean up your expenses first and foremost, and then know what your legitimate expenses are. So that way, when you're pricing, you're covering the business the correct way and you're keeping those separate. But just because, and some of you are making like tons of money. I mean, when you look at those top line sales, we're talking thousands of dollars. Some people, $100,000, $200,000, almost $300,000. And they're like, I'm broke. I don't have any money. Well, my first thing is, well, let's go figure out where this money's going, because it's an awful lot to have $300,000 in sales for a year and to only have $50,000 in profit. That may be legit, but for some of you, you have less than that. But for a lot of you, you actually have another $10,000, $20,000 in profit than what you think if you just clean up the garbage that's going through your business. We're talking, you're putting medical stuff through there, you're putting personal things, you're putting shopping through there. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I think it's important that we throw out all these different examples so you can have those aha moments. And if you don't believe me, just upload that business bank account into your QuickBooks if you don't already have one set up. And if you do have QuickBooks, go look at all those transactions and you know what I'm talking about, because some of you, I'll get your stuff and your QuickBooks will have, you've never categorized at all. And if you start sorting it and you look at what you're spending the money on, that's absolutely where you're spending the money. Which brings me to a point. You've got to clean up those QuickBooks and you've got to clean up your transactions. And a lot of times people will ask me, Tammy, well, what should I do? Well, first and foremost, you need to clean up your books for any year that you have not paid taxes on. Some of you are sitting at 3, 4, 5 years having never paid your taxes. You need to get that crap fixed. You need to spend the money and you need to get it right, because you're costing yourself thousands and thousands of more dollars. A lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to pay. It's too expensive. Well, of course it's going to be expensive. You waited multiple years to be able to clean something up. Just like you want someone to pay for your time, someone has to pay for the time for the person that's going to help you out. Even if and don't say it's you, because obviously you've been doing a stellar job of it if you're 3, 4 years behind. You need to bite the bullet, get the crap fixed, get it right, pay your taxes, get caught up, and start doing it the right way. So I got this hair inside my eye and it's driving me nuts. But so yes, first and foremost, you get your books cleaned up for the years that you have taxes. Me personally, let's say you've been doing your taxes and you kind of like took a wild shot in the dark of how you got your taxes. I'm not here to pass any judgment, but you're like, hey, I want to at least have a good set that I can use those business numbers to really make a difference. I'd clean up at least 2 years. This year, get straight, and the year prior, because now you can start seeing year over year, and there's power in that. Obviously, I love a lot of years, but at minimum, I really love this year compared to last year. So I really think at minimum, you should do that. But at the worst case, money is extremely tight. I need to be as, economical as I can. You've got to be straight from January on in the current year that you're in. Worst case scenario, start today. But that you're still going to wait a year or a longer time to be able to start making a difference with those numbers in some cases. But it's just start, whether it's now for this year and last year, or all the way until you owe taxes. Get those straight, get those personal expenses out of there. I promise you, the first thing you're going to do as your books are getting cleaned up is you're going to go, I didn't make that much money. I hear it all of the time. Every time I give somebody their numbers for any previous years, their first thought is, I didn't make that money. And then I have to go show, yes, you did, but by the way, over here, look at how much money you spent on personal items, things that had nothing to do with the business. Trust me, you are more profitable than you think you are. You just have to do the work to find out, and you need to start now cleaning this junk up. Why you're doing this to yourself is beyond me. It's not helping you. You know you need to have good numbers. You have to have clean books. You have to make a difference in that, in the money, the way you're spending that money, in order for you to see what your true profit is, because otherwise you don't know what your true profit is. You don't even know what your personal expenses are, because you're looking at your personal accounts thinking, oh, I only spend this much money to live. No, your business has been supporting you $1,000 to $3,000 this entire time, and you haven't been paying attention to what that money is. And don't be shocked when all of a sudden you owe all these taxes because you waited 3, 4, 5 years and all of a sudden you made a lot more money. Do it now. Bite the bullet. Get it fixed. Get with a good CPA who's going to get you on a payment plan with the IRS to pay back all those back taxes. Not doing it because you don't have the money is not the way to go. Remember, it's you not filing your taxes and not getting it going is what's causing you to get more and more and more money that is owed to the IRS. If you can get those things filed and you can get on a payment plan, at least you've got a solution to start paying the money from the past, and we can get you on something set up now to where you're putting that money away for the future so you're never behind on your taxes again. There's so many different things that as a business owner, you've got to make sure that you're pulling your head out of your butt and you're making sure that you're running a business like a legitimate business owner. This isn't something where you're just like, oh, well, let the cards fall wherever they fall. I'm just going to keep spending my money willy-nilly, and I'm going to keep complaining that I don't have any money. And the reason you don't have money, like I said, is because you're spending it on stuff that have nothing whatsoever to do with your business. How can you even tell how to run your business and how to make your business better if you're full of bloat $500 to $1,000 every single month of garbage that doesn't belong in there. You just can't do it. All right, I'm rattling. I know I'm rattling, and I know I'm going on and on. But I think this is a message some of you need to hear, and you know who you are because you're cringing right now, either watching or listening to me, and you know, oh yeah, that's me. Please don't stop. Listen, everything is fixable, okay? We can get everything straight. All you got to do is you can reach out, chat. My contact information is below. You can watch the course if you want to learn the business numbers better. I'm going to create something in the future that's going to help you on the book side. I don't have that yet. But you know what? You at some point, you have to be sick and tired of playing this rat game and just not getting it right. This rat race is you can't keep doing it wrong, expecting it to miraculously solve itself. If you've been screwing this up, whether it's a month, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you've got to call a stop to it and you got to get on track. So this way, you know exactly what your business is making so you can make the correct business decisions to be as profitable as you can. I promise you, you are more profitable than you think you are. You just don't know your numbers. You're just not paying attention and you're just spending money that you should not be spending in a way you should not be spending it. All right. So let's get this fixed. Let's move on and let's start kicking some serious butt so you can make some really good profit. And with that, I'm out of here and I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now.